All right, got a great question here from one of our customers. Why is cabin grade so much cheaper than first quality? Well, the way the first quality business works, that's about 80%, 85% of a manufacturer's production. So they, I told some of my hand. So they make a board, box, whatever, they make a powder wood. They sell it to a distributor. Distributor sells it to a retailer. Retailer sells it to you. At each point, each person that touches it makes a little profit, and there's a little freight on each one, or sometimes a lot of freight, sadly. In cabin grade, there's no profit in it for the manufacturer. They would like for there to be profit, but it doesn't work that way. A manufacturer truly has the same amount of cost in a board regardless of the grade. Okay, it went through the same process. He bought the lumber, he milled it, he had it sanded, finished, boxed. The cost per foot is the same, but the value's worth less. Okay, so when he sells that first quality stuff, it's all based on what it costs to make it. With cabin grade, it's based on supply and demand. He wants to get the most he can out of it. But the partners that we work with, it's really more about speed. They need that material out of there so they can focus on their first quality. So we help them get that material out of there quickly, and then we move it. Because we don't just go out and buy it every once in a while from somebody. We work with our partners to take all that they produce. Okay? So that means there's a constant flow going through our warehouses. What we have in it is not what determines the price. What determines the price is the flow of goods through our stores, through our warehouses. If we're buying 200,000 feet a month and we're only selling 150,000, pretty soon we're going to have a warehouse full of material. So the prices ebb and flow a little bit. Sometimes dark colors might cost more or less than a light color. It's determined by supply and demand. We have to keep that material moving. It's not that way with the first quality. With the first quality, if a retailer has 1,000 feet in his warehouse, or actually retailers usually don't stock flooring. The distributor, if the distributor has 5,000 feet of this floor in his warehouse, he's not going to buy any more. Even if the manufacturer calls and says, hey, we got a great deal on it. So we already have enough. We don't need more. So first quality can get a little bit pricey. Now, the exception is this American Home first quality hickory product that we've got. It's a long story and I don't want to get into it too much, but there's a segment of the hickory business that Bruce has mastered. They're very good at it. They have a box store that buys all of one segment of this species that they can make. Well, the way it works, they still have to make the 2 1/4 and 3 1/4, and they've asked us to move a large amount every month. Okay? It has to be sold every month, and we're talking about well over 100,000 square feet. That's why we're able to offer this first quality 3 1/4 wide American Home for $2.99, or the 2 1/4 version in 2 colors for $2.49. Now, those are cabin grade prices. Our cabin grade hickory sells for more than this first quality does, as crazy as it sounds. But it's about supply and demand, folks, okay? What it costs to make has nothing to do with it, up to a certain point, okay? I like to use the analogy of a butcher. When a butcher sells beef, he has the same amount per pound in ground beef that he does prime rib. But he gets a lot more money for the prime rib. If it was up to a butcher, there would be no ground beef on a cow because they lose money on it. It's the same way with wood. If a manufacturer has a good market for their prime rib or the 5-inch or the select or whatever aspect of that tree that they have, they still have to move that ground beef, okay? So that's what we do. We help these suppliers move things so that they can sell more of the other cuts, all right?